with you today because we are going to bring you some fantastic paddling. The best canoe slalom paddlers in the world going for gold. Later on today, it is going to be absolutely wonderful. We are going to see Olympic champions, we're going to see world champions, we're going to see future Olympic and world champions all in action as well on what is sure to be a day to remember. Joining me in the commentary box is local Czech paddler Eva Rahova, who's just been out on the water, in fact, doing the Forerunners course just to show everybody else how to do it properly. Good morning, Eva. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine.
How was the course this morning?
It's hard.
Yes, it's very hard. We saw that yesterday for the kayak. It's going to be really challenging for some of the canoe paddlers today, isn't it?
Yeah, that's for sure. It's quite similar to the qualification run, the course, but there are some other moves which are really tricky.
We just saw on the screen then the gates yesterday where the kayak paddlers really struggled. There's a move across, I think it's gates 20, 21, 22, which yesterday caused a lot of dramas. There for the kayak, you would assume it could be even more difficult for the canoe paddlers.
Yeah, I think so, because the stopper can really catch you and you lost some time there. And that's what K1s, they can just, just flow it and it's fast for them. But for the C1s, it's going to stop them and they will lose some time there.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to see some really interesting times and really interesting tactics, I'm sure, this morning. Look at you just saw the start list there. The very first lady on the course today. Hard to believe it. It doesn't happen very often either, but a world champion is going to be the first paddler on the course this morning. So really interesting for the rest of the women still to come. They're going to get a good look early on at a quality athlete out on the water to see how she does it. It'll be really interesting to see how she puts it together. Andrea Herzog, she had a disappointing qualification. She had to do 2 runs and she only just snuck into the final. She was the last athlete. There is Lucas Rosen, the men's fastest qualifier from France. Incredible form. We'll see him going a little bit later on this morning. We're about to get underway with the first athlete on the course. It will be Andrea Herzog. 30 women lined up to the start and only 10 will go through to the final. Only 10 will go. There's Jessica Fox, won a gold medal last week in the C1, and she will be going for a golden double this weekend. Were you impressed by her kayak run yesterday?
It was impressive. It was much faster than the other ladies. I think about 4 seconds.
4 seconds, yeah. Only athlete to go under 100 yesterday, which is unbelievable, and just really showed her class yesterday. Now, interesting that Andrea Herzog hasn't taken to the start line. I wonder whether maybe she's. Look, a few athletes have been ill since they've been in Prague. I know Anna Satilla, Evie Liebfar, for example, have both been battling stomach bugs. Maybe Andrea Herzog is. She was under the weather yesterday, obviously only just scraped through to the final, but she is a non-starter.
Okay, maybe that's why she didn't make the good run in the qualification. She didn't feel that well. It's
starting to all make sense to me now about why she would not be there. So there is an important late scratching. The German reigning world champion, who, by the way, didn't have a great week last week either. She didn't make the final, finished 12th, which was very disappointing for her, and she is out already. She's out of the semi-final, so that is a big loss. So Sona Stanoska now missed last week. Told me the other day that she's finally finished her studies. She's been studying for a couple of years, combining studies and paddling and all that stuff. She's finally finished her studies, which she's very happy about. So she can now focus full-time on her paddling, and here she is, first paddler on the course, and this will give us a sight of what to expect today. What was the run like for you this morning, Eva, when you went down there?
I made a few mistakes, but like at the dumb part, I hit the gate with my head, which was a bit...
That's a bit silly, yeah.
A bit silly.
Yeah.
But yeah, the rest was quite okay. You just have to keep the line and you will make it nicely. But of course, for the girls, when they are racing, it's even harder than when you are making a full run.
Yes. Yeah, it's the problem with this course, the way it's set at the moment, is the really challenging part is near the bottom of the course, and you've got very little energy. Have you? By the time you get down there, you're absolutely ruined, and you've got to do this really challenging manoeuvre. Good start from Sonna though. It's nice and clean so far, no problems. She's not taking too many risks, which maybe is not a bad approach early on, because if you can get a good run on the board early with no mistakes, then it puts down a bit of a challenge for everybody else. There's 30 athletes here, only 10 go through to the final, and we saw in the kayak yesterday, very few athletes went down in the women's event without making a mistake. So if Sonna can lay down, oh, there we go. That's called the commentator's curse.
Yes.
As soon as I start saying something positive and exciting, that happens. So she has got a touch.
Yeah, but we could see it before she jumped the stopper. She was too much on the left side, and she switched to the left hand, so it was, you could almost see it from the beginning before the problem.
Now this is where there's going to be problems today. This is what I was telling you about. There were problems yesterday for the kayak, and Sonna's gone over. Well done though, she's done well to get back.
Yeah, it's about, if the girls decide to make it more risky and do it more straight, then it's harder for them maybe to make a Eskimo. But if they decide to save it, it takes more time, but they will be okay in the gates.
So you would suggest they need to be very conservative, going through there, very careful. Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense, because trying to make a bit of time through those moves can cause you some dramas, I think. Now, Nelly Bain from Germany finished 18th last week in Augsburg, and the time for her to get inside of Sonna Stanoska's 1:33.7. Weather today is perfect, by the way, in Prague, and I'm sure Eva's going to tell me it's perfect every day in Prague, but yesterday afternoon we had some very heavy rain, which it only lasted maybe 10-15 minutes, but and there's two gate touches in a row for Nelly Bain, so all of a sudden this run has become a little bit problematic. But the weather today is pretty good for paddling. I think the athletes will enjoy these conditions. It's not too hot, there's no wind, and there's another touch up for no wind. It's perfect, really, isn't it?
Yeah, yesterday the 15 minutes, just the beginning of the semi-final K1 minutes, it was just really, but maybe storm is coming and the wind was blowing. It was quite hard for the girls, I guess.
So Nelly Bain, unfortunately 4 touches already, and she's still got the difficult part of the course to come. So this run is not going to give her much hope of a final, and now we'll see how she goes with this difficult move. And as you can see, it's just so hard getting across there. And she's done well. She's got through without a touch. So she'll be happy with that. She'll be happy she's nailed that part of the course. Now, I don't want to embarrass my co-commentator, but not only is she an excellent paddler and an excellent commentator, but Eva Rahova has an extra skill which I don't know of many people in the world who can do what she does. She actually, here in Prague, sings the national anthem at the medal ceremonies for whichever athlete wins the gold medal, and her voice is beautiful. It is a beautiful, beautiful singing voice. But what made it even more, yesterday I got a little bit of, I've got to say, Eva, I got a little bit emotional yesterday because you sang the Australian national anthem for Jess Fox, and it was a wonderful, wonderful rendition. So thank you, first of all, for that. But what an incredible skill you have, and to learn all those national anthems, how do you do it?
Well, it started before the European Championship here, when it was the COVID time and we knew there are not many countries coming, so I thought like, okay, some anthems I can learn because I'm going to music school, so I know how to learn it. And then the next year was the World Cup, and I thought that I can learn some more, and I just said okay, and I will do it. So from that time everybody wants me to sing it, so okay, I'm going to sing it again.
Yeah, it is a wonderful touch, and I know it means a lot for the athletes. Jess Fox, I know, was very moved by your rendition. She did hear you singing it earlier in the day in practice, and she said, oh, I heard it and I was trying to block it out because I thought it was going to be a bad omen that you were practicing with the Australian anthem. I think, did she say the same thing to you?
Yeah, she told me that after the ceremony, but I didn't know which one to choose to try because we always have to try one. And I didn't want to try the Czech ones because I was like, really Czechs there, they wouldn't like it. And I thought it just is really strong and she can handle it, you know.
Yeah, I think you scared her a lot. Now, we've got Adia Kozorov on the course from Slovenia. A couple of touches there, but 5 seconds under the time of Nelly Baines, so she has gone into the lead at this stage. Now, Marta Bertoncelli, who is a really much improved women's canoe paddler, she was really good last week. She finished 6th in the final. Had to do 2 runs to get through to the semi today, which is why she's so early on the course, but I think this will be a good test of how hard this course is because Marta's a really strong paddler. She went to the Olympics, of course, and here she is in Prague. A bit slow at the top, but clean. If she stays clean, she should be well under the time of Kozorov, which is a 1:24 for Adia Kozorov from Slovenia. So far, Bertoncelli, she's gone very wide there, but she's got a good line there. She's picked a good line to go. What do you think? She looks pretty tidy at the moment, doesn't she?
Yeah, she made a good move. Like she got too far to make it even more smooth the next close gate, and she made it really nicely.
And nice cross there. That can be tricky across there as well. So she's done very, very well. She's well under the split time at the moment, and no penalties. We have not had a clean run on the course yet. Hope that's not the commentator's curse about to kick in. Oh, she's all good. So Marta Bertoncelli, the Italian Olympian. Oh, well, that was good. I thought she was in a bit of trouble there. So
it just looked like she will just stay before the gate, but she made it well.
Oh, now she's, I think she was okay. This is such a hard move. She's really having to work hard. That is so difficult. But she's got time. She's still got time, and she's still going to go with that little mistake. She's still going to be the new leader for Marta Bertoncelli because she has not made any mistakes. Yes, she's frustrated. She's thrown away a good opportunity there, but look, she's still in the lead, and there's a lot of athletes still to come. And as we've seen, there are a lot of mistakes that can be made. Naomi Fox, now she's a little bit disappointed with her performance last week in Augsburg. She finished 28th overall. She's definitely aiming for finals every time she goes out on the water, especially in the canoe. She's been getting some good results in recent years in the canoe, so her big aim here will be, first of all, to get into this final. That would be a big breakthrough after her performance of last week. She was a little bit down on the kayak yesterday, so a bit of work for Naomi, but she's doing very well. She's under the split time. Looks really, really strong for Naomi Fox, the Australian. Oh, there we go, commentator's curse. Hits it twice just to make sure the judges don't make any mistakes. If you're going to hit it, you might as well hit it well. But she can probably absorb that 2-second penalty. There's plenty of room on the course to make up time later on, I think. Especially down the bottom. So Naomi Fox from Australia, just 2 Australian women here, Naomi and her sister Jess. Of course, Jess Fox will be on the water a little bit later on. Let's see how Naomi goes with this move. She's gone for the spin. Would you recommend the spin? Oh, she's gone too low. Oh, and there is the problem, isn't it? Either with the spin, it can push you out, and now she's got to paddle back.
Yeah, I think it's better to do it straight because with a spin you don't know where it pushes you. So, yeah, I think the ladies will have really problems at the down part, like last part. So they should just keep it straight, just catch the stopper and let them push them back to the right. Yeah,
you can see the frustration there for Naomi. It wasn't a bad run. She had a touch, but her time was okay. But the spin there, a bold move, but unfortunately She couldn't pull it off, Naomi Fox, so she will really struggle to make it to the final. Now, Victoria Dobrotowska from Ukraine. Very low-key last week in Augsburg. We certainly didn't see the best of her, I don't think, in Germany, so she'll be out today to try and put down a good run. Of course, the Ukrainians, I mention it every time we have a Ukrainian paddler on the screen, on the water, just what they've had to deal with to try and stay focused and to keep competing at the top level. It's been so hard for all of them. For her, Victoria Oos, there's a couple of the men in the sprint canoe, there's athletes there. They're trying to compete still, trying to stay focused on hopefully getting to Paris next year. But as Victoria Oos said to me the other day, your mood for the day depends a lot on what is the first news item you hear every morning. And of course, they wake up in the morning, they look at their phones, they check the news, and that can determine your mood for the day, because there's a lot of stuff happening at home, which is, oops, might as well bang both ends of the canoe into the wall. So this is not a bad time, a little bit slow, she's got a gate touch, but nobody yet has really had a clean run through here. Oh, that's quite good. She's done well. She's actually, now there is the difference. If you can put that together on that gate combination, you are going to pick up a lot of time. And Victoria Dobrotowska's gone from being more than 5 seconds down to only being 0.3 of a second down on the leader. So that is the difference that can be made on that tricky combination. Sophie Ogilvie early on gets a touch. That's going to be annoying, getting a touch on the gate like that early on. So you really need to try and stay clean at the top. So Sophie Ogilvie, one of 3 Brits in this semi-final. We'll see Kimberly Woods and Mallory Franklin a little bit later on in the morning. But Sophie, an exciting young paddler from Team GB. Certainly a really strong program which the Brits have, and looking forward very much to our World Championships in Lee Valley, the 2012 Olympic venue. That will be where our World Championships are held later this year, and of course that will also be where athletes will be competing for, and there's another touch there unfortunately for Sophie. That'll be where the athletes will be competing for the quotas for Paris 2024. Eva, what's your program for the rest of the year? Have you got some World Cup action coming up or not?
We go on Monday to Tatzen for the World Cup, and then there are the under-23 European and World Championships.
So you'll be in Krakow. You have a couple of events in Krakow.
Yeah.
This year.
Yeah, that's the World Championship.
Yeah.
And the Europeans in Paris.
Yeah. So it's going to be a busy year for you. So you get a chance in the Senior World Cup next week.
Yes.
Do you like Taxon?
Yeah, it's fine. I like it. I hope the drop will be open because there is too much water now.
Oh, look at this. I mean, honestly, it's such a difficult... I'm sorry, I know I sound like a broken record, but yesterday we saw how it just ruined the chances of several athletes who thought they were going well. And again today, it's just really tormenting some of these paddlers. It's going to be really interesting to see later on this morning, later on in this women's semi-final, some of the women who did the K1 yesterday, like this young lady, Klaudia Zwolinska from Poland. She did it in the kayak yesterday, so she may have learned some lessons. She had a pretty messy run in the final yesterday, had a lot of touches. So what did she learn from that experience? What will she do differently today in a canoe? It's totally different, of course, though, in a canoe from a kayak, but Claudia's really picked up, hasn't she? She's very strong now in both the kayak and the canoe.
Yeah, she really improved. It's really nice how she make it on K1. She is good, of course, but on C1, just look at her moves. It's so smooth.
Yeah, and look at that time. She's tracking really, really well. And
yeah.
And no penalties yet for Klaudia Zwolinska, so she'd be pretty happy at the moment. By this time yesterday, she'd already racked up about 4 seconds in penalties, so that was close. I think Well, the pole is moving, but I'm not sure whether that was a water splash or there was a touch there. That was a touch. So definite 2-second penalty there, unfortunately. And oh, she's okay. So even though she has a touch, she's going quick enough to be able to absorb that, because we know that Marta Bertoncelli, who is the current leader, had a lot of problems here. And so if Zwolinska can stay, that's nice. That's the best combination of the day so far. And you will see that reflected in her time here. It's going to be a much quicker time. In fact, nearly 4 seconds quicker than the next best time. So that's the difference when you can nail that combination. Claudia Zwolinska has an asterisk next to her name, but at this stage, well, even if she does get that 2 seconds added on, she's going to be our race leader. Evie Liebwarth from the United States. Now, in her first semi-final run, her first qualifying run yesterday, she put down a cracking run, and then it felt like an eternity after she'd finished. She got a 50-second penalty added, so she had to do the run again. And she came out and nailed another really strong run. So she did two really good canoe runs yesterday. Different course today, of course, but she's paddling strong. She didn't have a great week in Augsburg, and the K1 didn't quite go to plan as well. So really looking to nail this canoe run. As I mentioned, she was a bit crook, a little bit sicker. Oh, there's a touch, unfortunately, for Evie. She was a little bit sick a couple of nights ago, apparently, and spent a lot of the night awake and dealing with the stomach upset. But she's looking quite strong at the moment, and tracking with a time that will put her very close to Zwolinska's time. Now the asterisk has been removed from Claudia Zwolinska's time, so she's on a 1:18.81. And let's have a look at Evie Liebwarth through this 21, 22, 23. Nice. This is going to be our new race leader. Evie Liebwarth from the United States coming down now. She's going to be, oh, it's going to be close. Just outside Zwolinska's time with a gate touch. What do you think, Eva? 1:18, 1:19. Do you think that's going to be good enough to get into a final?
Well, I think it will be faster. I think you have to make a faster run to be in the final. Around 115 or something.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I mean, you would expect Jess Fox will go, she'll probably go 1:14, maybe even 1:15 if she's in good form today.
I would say she can go under 110.
Under 110?
If she wants.
Wow. That would set this course alight, wouldn't it? If she can go under 110 in the canoe. I mean, she went under 100 yesterday in the kayak. She was the only woman athlete to do so. And she really got that right yesterday. She absolutely nailed it. She was fantastic last week in the C1 final to take the gold. She is the reigning Olympic gold medalist, of course. Elena Macosi, who's also a very strong paddler from Italy. And Elena is tight at the moment and clean. The Italian program for Eva is exciting, isn't it? They've got some young paddlers there who are at the very start of their careers still, but there's big trouble there for Elena. So 2 seconds. Good young program in Italy. It's good to see these young athletes coming through the system.
I think the Italian ladies really improved. Like in the last 2 years, they got really, really good. They can race on a professional level.
Oh, goodness me, I've not seen that happen. That's a first. I've not seen, I mean, that shows you how violent that stopper can be there, where if you get in the wrong part of it, you can get into all sorts of trouble.
Yeah, like the stopper, you really cannot like have the boat too much up. It's better to just keep it down and it push you, because if you turn too much, it can really stop you and push you to another side.
Wow, That was tough. That was incredible. It just pushed her out the other way, the opposite direction to where she wanted to go. So tough finish there, unfortunately, for Elena Makosi from Italy. So Klaudia Zwolinska from Poland remains at the top of the leaderboard. We are a third of the way through this semi-final. 10 athletes have gone. We've got 20 to come. And in amongst that 20, we have some Olympic champions, or an Olympic champion, sorry, and we have some world champions as well, and World Cup winners. So plenty of quality athletes still sitting in the sheds, waiting to get out there and have a crack at this difficult Prague semi-final course. Don't forget, coming up soon, we'll have the men also competing for the place in today's finals. And then later on this morning, the gold medals will be decided in both the women's and the men's C1. It's a short program today, but it's a very exciting program. And then this afternoon, the course is turned over to kayak cross, and the athletes will get a chance to have a bit of a train. Oh, there's a touch. So only one athlete so far has managed to stay clean, and that was Marta Bertoncelli. She's the only athlete without a penalty so far, so we're seeing just what a challenge it is. That was a good move from Miren Lezcano from Spain. She's going to be third at the moment. That 2-second penalty is pushed her down, although even without it she would still be in third position. So Leah Novak now from Slovenia. Oh, an early touch, I think. Did she touch that? I think so. So early touch on a gate where you probably shouldn't be picking up penalties, which puts out a big challenge for you for the rest of the run. A lot of the athletes were telling me, Eva, that they thought the water was a little bit higher this year in Prague than it has been previously. Is that the case, do you think?
Well, yeah. Before the Czech selections, we had really high water and it was changing all the time. And I think maybe today was also a bit higher water level than it was yesterday. Maybe because of the big rain which was yesterday, we don't know. But yeah, it's a bit tricky.
And does that make a big difference for a paddler on how they might approach a course if they get out there and they feel that the water is higher than it was yesterday? Would it change the way they might paddle during a run?
Or maybe they won't notice when they just watch it, but then when you go the course, you see that the stoppers are a bit different. So they maybe don't catch you that well, or they catch you even more because it's a bit different. So it's good when someone notices and tell you, just be afraid, here it's a bit different. So yeah, definitely it's different.
As the trick is, the challenge could be, I think, Eva, sometimes you don't have as much room between the bottom of the gate and the water. So some of the moves that you might have been able to pull off yesterday, you know, sliding your, there's another touch there, sliding your boat or your head under the gate might be a bit more difficult today. So unfortunately there are a few mistakes for Leah Novak from Slovenia. 6 seconds in penalties. That is going to rule her out of finals action as well. And by the way, she's given the, I'm not sure what she's arguing about there. That's pretty clear, I think, the mistake she made there. That will rule her out of finals activity. Now Alexander Stark from Poland. Already we have a Pole sitting at the top of the leaderboard, Klaudia Zwolinska, and the more this race goes on, the more that time looks quite reasonable, the 1:18.81 for Klaudia Zwolinska. Her Polish teammate, though, wants to have a say. Oh, there's a touch there, I think, for Stark.
Oh.
And she's gone over. That is problematic. That is not the way to attack that gate. Now
She just switched really early.
Yeah. A lot more of the athletes are switching now, aren't they? A lot more of the women are switching. Are you a switcher?
Yeah, I switch sometimes, but more like for the extremes to make it faster.
Yeah.
But when there are some hard moves or something I'm not sure in, I just keep it on the right hand, which is my strong one.
So for people watching at home, Eva, what is the advantage for an athlete who can successfully switch?
Well, I think like sometimes it really pushes you more when you are on like the upper hand. But as we can see, like many mistakes came from the switching. So yeah, you risk a bit that you make mistakes, but it can be faster. So you have to decide if you just try to make it faster, but you can make a mistake by switching.
Yeah. So the good athletes who can do it, and there we go. You just saw there an example. There was a switch from Alexandra Stackett. She had to touch on the gate, another switch there. So you can see what Eva's talking about there with switching hands and trying to get the power. Of course, your dominant hand is always the one that's going to be...
Because Alexandra is paddling on the left side and she switched to the right and then she made a mistake. Maybe if she stayed on the left hand it would be better, you know.
Monica Doria Villarubla, she had a great kayak run yesterday and last week. Was a little bit disappointed in the canoe. She ended up as a punishment for her running the canoe last week in the semi-final. She had to do the commentary for the final. That is the punishment. If you don't make the final, you face the option of having to sit in the commentary box alongside me. That should be enough incentive for everybody to paddle well. And, ooh, yes, that was a tight move for the lady from Andorra, Monica Doria Villarubla. She would love to make the C1 final this afternoon. And paddling quite strong at the moment. Nice and clean, no problems.
Ooh, it was fast spin. I didn't expect someone to make a spin there, but it was a good idea.
Yeah, she's done a couple of spins now, so she's really making the boat work for her.
The time is much faster.
It sure is. If she can get through here without problems. Oh, good move. Come on, Monica, get through there. Great stuff. Monica Doria Villarubla, check out this time. She's going to blow that time out of the water. This is a very, very good. She's pretty happy with that. Look at that smile. Goodness me, she knows she's nailed that. I think we're going to see you in the final. We've got half the field still to come. But I think that's the time that is going to put you into a final, I think. 1:12.66, more than 6 seconds faster than the next best time.
So I think the time 110 is possible to make.
I think that, yeah, exactly. That was a good run, though. Not too many mistakes made by Monica Doria Villarubla. So now we have Omaroya Estacianeta from Brazil, sister of Ana Satilla, and well, she's a really much improved paddler this year. We've seen some good results from her without yet sort of showing much forward in terms of finals action, but we know that she's a stronger paddler now than she was last year. There's a big opportunity here on this course to do something pretty special. Ana Satilla not in this race. She didn't make the semi, which is very unusual for her, but she had a pretty bad day. She was ill. I mentioned she was ill earlier this week, and I don't think she really ever fully recovered before the semis. So before the heats, I mean, sorry, the C1. But this is a good, strong performance from her sister. She's doing really, really well, and has kept the card clean so far.
She's losing a bit of time, but I think she doesn't need to make the same time as Monica made.
She got there just. So good time. She's going to be in the top 3 or 4 anyway. Is that going to be enough though for finals action fourth at the moment? I don't think so. I think a 120 might be a little bit too slow.
There's the 15 ladies coming.
Yeah, we're halfway through. We're halfway through, so now here is somebody who could challenge the 110. Your teammate, your Czech teammate, Teresa Fizerova. She's been so good, hasn't she, in the canoe for so many years, and knows this course so well. We could expect something pretty special from her, I think, couldn't we?
Yeah. She's in the lead, and she can make really fast run. I think she can really go on to the 110.
Yeah. She has added the kayak, of course, in the last couple of seasons. She's really, really worked on her kayak, and we've seen the results with her making finals in it was I don't want to say a lazy touch because it's so hard out there for all the athletes, but they're the sort of touches that would be very frustrating for someone like Teresa, who works so hard to just brush the gate like that. It'd be quite frustrating, I'm sure. So many much more difficult gates. You can hear the crowd. Oh, another touch there for Teresa. So 2 touches now. Can she absorb those touches though in her time and still manage to get through to the final? What's it like, Eva, when you're racing here, when you've got that Prague crowd behind you?
I think that it's really good that we know the course. Like we didn't make exactly the same course, but we tried those parts. So it's for sure easier for us that we know what to do here. And Teresa, no, she didn't make it well.
No.
She's fourth now with 3 touches.
Yeah, so she'll be disappointed. And it's a good crowd that have come out on a Saturday morning in Prague to cheer on the hometown paddlers. They had a lot of excitement yesterday afternoon with a gold and silver in the men's K1 with Yuri Pristovic and Vitprindas taking gold and silver. The crowd loved that. I don't know there was much work done in Prague yesterday afternoon. It was a Friday. I'm not quite sure if anybody was still in the office or at school because they all seem to be down here at the course. Now, Victoria Ulsa's made a good, strong start. We talk about athletes having improved over the winter, over the European winter, and Victoria Ulsa's has really put some work in, I think, over the winter months and has started this season in good form, but yet to win a medal. Could today be the day in the women's canoe? She's certainly made a strong start. She's switching regularly, and at the moment she's in touch with the time set by Monica Doria Villarubla, the Andorran. It's a 1:12. Clean. There were no penalties at all for Monica, which makes a big difference, of course.
Monica also, she really improved. Like, she can make really fast times, but she was always watching. She was able to make like 4 touches, which put her down. So it's really nice to see that for this season she cleaned up her run, and she's making really good times.
Yeah, she's a much improved paddler. Now Victoria's on track here. She's on track for... Ooh, that's an interesting move. Have not seen that one.
But she saved it well.
She did. She's not going to be quickest, but she'll be top 3. No, she's lost a bit of time on the bottom there. So she slipped down to 5th. Clean, but wow, so she's a 1:19. Elena Lilik, a former world champion in the canoe, won her first kayak gold medal, World Cup gold medal last week in Augsburg. Didn't do so well yesterday, so she'll be out to do well in the canoe. We know how strong she is, Helena Lilik. I mean, all the Germans, it's such a strong... Oh, she's gone... Yeah, she's done okay. I thought she might have gone a bit too early there, but recovered that quite well.
Yeah, we can see that she really knows what to do. She was just too early there, and she would just wait to make the hard push and get from the gate.
So a little bit down on the split, but at the moment there's 6 seconds between first and second on the leaderboard, so plenty of room between Monica Doria Villaruba's time and Claudia Zwolinska's. So no need to stress about the time difference at the moment. She's down around 2 seconds, but she can pick that up. She can certainly make up a bit of time here if she's smooth.
That was really nice. She made it straight and fast.
Approach with Elena Lulik.
There was a touch.
Did she touch it with her back, I think? Yeah.
It's like a bit unlucky touch when you touch it just with the back of the board and you don't even see you touch.
But we're going to have possibly second place now. I think she'll move into second. She would be first without that touch. But that's a good run there from Elena Lulik. She's going to have a little nervous wait now because there's still what have we got now? 12 more paddlers to come. And so it'll be a nervous wait for Elena Lulik. Will the time of 1:13 be okay? Now here's a paddler who definitely wants to put down a good run today. Lucy Priault from France. She had a disappointing semi-final in Augsburg. She ended up 30th. Picked up a lot of penalties on her run, so she needs to hold it together today and show she's got some improvement on last week. Looking good so far for this young lady from France.
Lucy told me that she's finishing her school, so she has really many work with the project. But I said that it's okay, that maybe she will be more focused for school and she will be relaxed for the paddling. So let's see if it really works like that.
Did she think that you were right, or did she? Because it must be hard. I was talking to one of your teammates the other day, Galaskova, who's also got exams on at the moment, and saying how hard it was for her to focus on her exams when she had World Cups and that to contest as well. And it must be hard when you're doing the combination either to do all that stuff.
But I see from the last year when I was finishing the Metro, I was just so chill for the selection because it was in the same time. So I just, get nervous for the school, and it was like free mind for the paddling. It was cool. I missed it this year a bit.
Oh, is that a 50? That could well be a 50, I think. And it's problematic here as well, unfortunately for Lucy Priault. Same as last week. It was going well, but then a mistake has cost her dearly. Her time was pretty good up until then.
It was a good run. It's a pity that she didn't stay focused to the last part.
It's a good point you make, Eva, that it's important, I think, for athletes to have stuff outside of their paddling life to give them something else to focus on. So many athletes, they're just focused on their event and on their sport, and it can be all-consuming. You can get yourself down and get yourself overexcited about your racing. If you know that you're going home tonight, you've got to get your nose into those study books, and you've got an exam coming up, then what a good way to turn your mind off having to worry about what's going to happen on the water.
I agree.
Teresa's paddling. How's Teresa been paddling this year?
Teresa really improved. She's paddling really well. We saw it at the World Cup last week. She got to the final, and she made a really good one. I think she was fifth or fourth.
She finished fifth, yeah, last week. Of course, has been a very successful wild water paddler, as well as so many of you Czech paddlers are. You all do very, very well. And of course, we should mention the Wild Water World Championships are on this weekend in Augsburg. So good luck to all the athletes who are competing there, and we will have live coverage of the Wild Water World Championships on recast later today. So if you're a Wild Water fan, make sure that you tune in later on today to watch the Wild Water World Championships today and tomorrow. A good run here from Teresa Nevlova. You can look at the crowd there. You can see that the stands are packed already this morning. Fans have come out early to get a good vantage point to watch their athletes in action. And Teresa Nevlova, I think she's going to be...
There was a touch.
Yes, there was. Well spotted. This time still going to be okay, though. I think it's still going to be putting her top 5. Third at the moment. Oh, that's nerve-wracking. that will be nerve-wracking because she is at the moment of 118, and we are now heading down to we started qualifying. So Monica Doria Villarubla has qualified. So we've got the first finalist confirmed. Oh, what's happened here? We're having some real troubles getting back into line here for, unfortunately, for
Evalina Hočeva is on the course. Yeah.
From Slovenia.
She was 10 in the qualification.
It's going to be tough for her to, with that mistake at the top though, she lost a lot of time. So at the moment it's Monica Doria Villarubla confirmed into the final. The next waiting to go is Eleanor Lilly. Her time is at 1:13. Pretty certain that that Eva Hosova is not going to go under that time, given that she's lost so much time. Even though she's clean, she did spend a lot of time going up and down in the one spot at the top of the course. So she needs to make up a lot of ground now to put herself in the mix for a potential final. So still to come, we have, of course, the Olympic champion. We've got the Olympic silver medalist as well, Mallory Franklin. We've got Angel Hooper, who won a silver medal last week in Augsburg. So we've got some quality athletes still waiting to paddle. And there's a lot that can happen in the next 20 minutes or so, 15 minutes to shape the look of this final. Now, can Eva make up some time through here? That's not a bad move, actually. She's done very, very well. She's picked up some valuable time on that move. Still not going to be quick enough, but it certainly could have been a lot worse. Yeah, she knows. She's not happy. She's giving that, and the boat, giving everything a bit of a whack. And you can understand the disappointment. You know, you make a little mistake, and it can be so costly. And she knows that the rest of her... Oh, and there's a touch, unfortunately, for Elena Marx from Switzerland early on. Great to see her in the final, though. She's had a good weekend. She was also, a semi-final. She was also in the semi of the K1 yesterday. And I mentioned during the commentary, she was the very last athlete from Canoe Slalom to get the call-up for Tokyo. There was a late change with one of the teams that had opened the door for Elena Marx to get on a plane and get to Tokyo lickety-split. And she got there and managed to have an Olympic experience, which I'm sure she will cherish for the rest of her days. And if she can get back to some form here and show some speed, she may even make the final here today, which at the moment it's wide open. Eleanor Lillich is through, by the way. And the next person waiting is the Czech, Teresa Neblova. She's sitting there waiting on a time of 1:18, which I don't know, even when she crossed the line and saw her time of 1:18, whether she would have thought that that was going to be good enough to get into a final, and now she's potentially going to be there. Watching now Elena Marx from Switzerland. That touch at the top could be crucial. She's 12 seconds down, so, and already the clock's ticked over to 1:10, 1:11, so unfortunately for Elena Marx, this is not going to be a run fast enough to put her into the final, but nice and clean through that tricky bottom part of the course, so she can take that away from this run. Shake of the head from Elena Marx. She goes into 16th, which means we're going to have a Czech in the final. Even.
That's perfect.
Perfect for the crowd.
I like to see it. Yeah.
We do like to see that.
Yeah, because the crowd was really good yesterday, because they came for the Czech paddlers. So it would be good if there are some Czechs in the final and people will come again. Make some noise for all the athletes.
Well, what I did hear yesterday from a number of the athletes who are not Czech is that one of the things they really love about competing here is that the crowd, they know so much about the sport and they cheer for all the athletes, not just the Czech athletes, but they're very, very fair. I mean, they'd love it when the Czech athletes win, of course. Why wouldn't they? But they are very, very generous to the other athletes as well.
I think like the spectators, they're also saying like, let's show that we like the sport, that you will support all the athletes, not just the Czech ones. Show that you are here. You know, they're trying to make them really make the noise. And I think that they just, when they come here, they like to enjoy the sport, so they make the noise and they're cheering for everyone because they want to see a nice sport.
So Angel Hug at the moment is on the course. She won a silver medal last week. It was her best result ever last week. So can she go one better this week? First of all, she's got to make the final. She's got a review on a gate touch. Now, if she can get through here clear, her time is looking pretty good. And that looks good. Nice combination from Angel Hug. I think she's going to book herself a ticket into the final. She needs to go under 118. It's going to be very, very close. She's under, and she is into the final. Again, 2 weeks in a row, she's pretty happy about that. Right, now, an Olympic champion on the course, Jess Fox, has dominated C1 paddling for so many years. Won gold in Tokyo, of course. She's won numerous world titles as well, and she was awesome last week in Augsburg. What is it like as a fellow C1 paddler, Eva, watching Jess Fox on the course?
It's just impressive. She's paddling like there are no gates, no waves. She's just flowing through, you know?
It's like a flat water exercise for her, isn't it? Look at that. We talked about an athlete going under 110. Well, Eva boldly predicted that an athlete would go under 110, and this is the athlete who could do it. Jessica Fox, in her current form, she was so happy with her run yesterday, and you could feel the pressure that had been lifted from her shoulders, getting that K1 gold medal locked away. So she may even feel a little bit freer today, a little bit freer and easy. Her time is not fast at the top, but we know how strong she is, and we know that down the bottom of the course she can make up a lot of time. So Jess Fox from Australia looking for a golden double this weekend in Prague. Paddling really, really well. Look at this. Oh, look at that. That is such a good move. That's smooth, isn't it? Jess is on track now. She's still a little bit behind Monica Doria Villarubla's time, but she's got some time to make up here if she's, yes, look at that. That is how you, wow.
She used the last stopper, which is not necessary, but just okay if you want. You didn't want to go to 110, so just keep before the final.
Just get the job done, move into the third spot. Yeah, that's okay. She said, I know I can go faster in the final. Happy not to be the first paddler on the course, the last paddler on the course.
I think if she didn't get a stopper, she would also just stop paddling before she got the finish line to not be the first one.
So Jess Fox, she has a clean run and moves her through into the final. Now on the course we have the youngster Zuzana Pankova. She's super, super exciting to watch. She's still so young, such a big future in front of her, but one of the athletes who I think last year especially, Eva, people really started to notice how strong she is on the water.
I think last year in the junior category for her, in the first year in the 23, and yeah, she really improved. Like, she just made the first time team and she won everything, if you say it like that, easily.
Yeah, she did. She really, really dominated it. And then stepped up for a couple of the senior events and showed that she was quite capable, matching it with the very, very best in the world. And here she is again, putting down a challenge. She made the final last week in Augsburg and finished 8th. So she's already had World Cup final experience this season. At the moment, the athlete on the bubble is Klaudia Zwolinska from Poland. Her time is a 118.81. So that is the time that Zuzana Pankova will need to go under to go straight into the final. At this stage, she's always going to be very close. It's all going to come down to this move here for Zuzana Pankova. It's not the quickest, but it's clean. She's like, oh, goodness me, I spoke too soon. I'm sorry, Zuzana. I think she's still going to go very close. I think she's going to go under 118, which will put her into the final. That late touch is annoying, but she won't mind because she'll look up there and she'll see a Q next to her name, which means she can go maybe have a shower, have a bite to eat, and come back and compete for the gold medal. Now, last week we saw a Satkova competing, and this week we've got a different Satkova competing. Of course, Gabby competing today. She sat out last week. Her sister Monica was in Augsburg, and now Gabby's competing here to try and get another check into the final. How's her form been so far this year, Eva? Have you seen much of Gabby on the water?
Yeah, she is really good in the sessions, and then she just put it to the race. You just see even like no mistakes during the sessions. That's why she can make it really easily then in the races. It's really good to watch her training.
She's quite a tall competitor, and the Satkovas as well, both of the sisters are very, very good wild water paddlers. I'm sure if we weren't paddling here today, they'd be over at Augsburg at the World Championships. They've really made their mark in that sport. So again, it is Claudia Zwolinska who continues to wait to see if she's going to be in the finals. The way Gabby Satkova is attacking these gates, though, she's going to be not only in the final, but she could go in as the... Oh, that is a strong move. Let's see if she can pull it off. A little bit of... Oh, what's happened there? She's done an unnecessary spin. Her time was fast, so she's still going to be okay, I think. Unbelievable. She got into all sorts of trouble at that combination, but look at that. Explain that to me, Eva, please.
I don't know if she saw Jessica using the last stopper and she was like, Jessica, go there, so we need to go there. So, okay, I'm going to go. So, I don't know why she wanted to use the last stopper as well as Jessica. But she just really kept a calm mind and just stayed focused, and she was really fast.
She sure was. Even with that mistake, she still managed to go through into the final in third position ahead of Jessica Fox. So there you go. There is room to make mistakes and still do well. Kimberly Woods now, she joined me in the commentary box yesterday afternoon for the women's K1 final. I could sense sitting next to her yesterday a sense of determination that she was going to go out today and do something very, very special. We know how strong she is, Kimberly. She'd love to she'd love to nail the C1 here. Of course, she went to the Olympics in Tokyo as the K1 paddler, but both her and Mallory do the K1 and C1 very, very well. We'll see Mallory Franklin on the water in just a moment. But Kimberly Woods would desperately love to make the final today, for more than anything, to avoid having to sit in the commentary box with me. I think that I said to her yesterday, if you don't want to commentate with me, get into the final. And she said, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm sure she didn't mean it.
I think she's really trying to not sit here again. She's really pushing hard to get to the final.
It's not that bad sitting in here with me.
That's all right.
It's okay.
But I think, like, it's a bit better to be in the final.
Athletes
if you can choose.
Athletes would prefer, yes, of course. Athletes would prefer to be on the water than sitting in the commentary box, for sure. But it is so good, and I know people at home, oh, Kimberly, that's okay. She's still going to be all right. I think she's going to go straight in. She's got to go under 118. She's going to go under 118, which will get her into the final. Even with that touch, oh, she goes, that was a bit lucky, but I'm okay. I don't mind. I can avoid sitting with Ross in the commentary box. Thank goodness for that. That's all I wanted to do. That's my only goal, was to avoid that little commentary box. Mallory Franklin now back in her first World Cup of the year. Won the bronze yesterday in the K1. I mentioned that during the winter she managed to break a bone in her hand, and that put her training off a little bit. She's had a little bit of steel inserted into her hand just to give it back its full strength, and certainly there seems to be no ill effects at the moment from the way she's paddling. She was really strong. She's so upright, isn't she, Eva, when she sits in the boat?
Yeah, and we also saw it yesterday in K1. She made really good run, but then in the last part she made a few mistakes, and that's why she was third. Yeah, I think she got the touch and she lost some time there at the last stopper.
Yep.
So hopefully today will be better.
Well, for so many of these athletes, they've already done a run on this, at least two runs on this difficult course, so by now they will know exactly the line that they should be taking if they want to stay out of trouble. Mallory Franklin going for a time under 1:18.81 to get into the final. Claudia Zwolinska has been waiting there on the bubble for quite some time now. Now Mallory Franklin, here we go. Oh, there we go. There's a 2-second penalty.
But she's still got time to. One touch is
plenty of time.
Yeah,
she's going
plenty of time to get there.
She's going to cruise into this final. No problems there for Franklin. So 2 Brits in the final, and another athlete who knows that she can go a lot faster in the final run. Now Marjorie Delassus, she was so disappointing last week in her C1, so there was a great relief yesterday when she had to wait. There was an asterisk next to her name. They were looking really closely at one gate in particular. I think it was gate 10 yesterday, and eventually they ruled in her favour, and that meant that she went through as the fastest qualifier for the semis. Now, can she repeat that form here? She's looking really, really good. This is the last paddler on the course. She just needs to go under 1:18 and she will be into the final. At this stage, Eva, it's a very tidy run at the top of the course.
Yeah.
Oh! Commentator's curse. Oh, she got through the gate okay. She touched it. She doesn't need to go back. She doesn't know that though.
I think she wasn't sure she was in the gate.
No.
It was hard to see from this view
Yeah.
if she really got up in the gate or a bit after. So she wanted to be sure to go back.
Wow, yeah, wow, that's going to make it really, really hard. And there was the commentator's curse again, just kicking in there for Marjorie Delassus. That's going to make it hard. Let's see what she can do. She's really going to have to do something very special to get under the 1:18 now, which is Claudia Zwolinska's time. For Marjorie Delassus, she's had a swim, so she'll know that she's got so much work to do. 1:03, she's 11 seconds down, which is, at this stage, puts her out of the final. And, oh...
There she made a spin. I don't think it will be enough.
No, unfortunately for Marjorie Delassus, there will be no final this afternoon, which means that Claudia Zwolinska from Poland will make the final. Disappointment for Marjorie Delassus. Claudia Zwolinska is into the final. The fastest qualifier is Monica Doria Villarubla, Eleanor Lilick, Gabby Satkova, Jessica Fox, Mallory Franklin, Angel Hook, Suzanne Pankova, Kimberly Woods, Teresa Neblova, Claudia Zwolinska. They are your top 10. What do you think, Eva, about that finals lineup?
I think final will be really fast. I think the girls can improve. I think we'll be good. We are missing some good girls, but still I think it will be a good race.
I think there is the potential there for definitely some sub-110s in the final. We're going to see a race for gold. I think the final kicks off, let me just tell you exactly what time. The final kicks off in about an hour and a half from now. So what will most of the athletes do between now and the final? Will they have something to eat, or will they go for another paddle? What would most athletes do you think?
I think they just go to paddle a bit after the semi-final, you know, to just relax. And then they take the video with the coach. Maybe they take some snack, a bit of rest. They play some music in the airport, and then they get ready again. They take the chorus with the coach again.
Would they watch the men? Will they watch what the men do on the course?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think they would choose some which they would. Oh, we can see with the child taking interview.
Doing the media, they're so invasive. They get in your face all the time. It was Jess Fox getting in some practice. Probably the best question she's been asked all weekend, actually, because we tend to ask silly things. So I'm sure that kid had some really, really pertinent questions for Jess, putting her on the spot. Eva, thank you so much for being part of our commentary this morning. It's been great having you in the box. I know you've had a busy morning. You've now got to go and prepare for the national anthems. Are there any countries here? Let's have a look at the final. Do you know the Andorran anthem?
Yes.
German?
Yes.
Of course. Czech? Yes. Australian? Yes. GB?
Yes.
French?
Yes.
Slovak?
Sure.
Poland?
Sure.
Sure, she says. So that means you know all those languages as well?
No, I just know the anthems.
Talented. It actually scares me how talented you are that you can sing all those anthems. I know you love the Australian anthem. I know you love the Czech anthem. Of all those anthems, though, which one would be the best? The French anthem is pretty good, isn't it?
It's nice, but like what we have, the music which we sing with, it's a bit low for me. So I like to sing it, but I prefer like Australians or the Czech ones, they are high. But like the British and also the French one, it's a bit low for me. So I can make it, but it's, it doesn't go like that easily.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's just unbelievable you can sing all these anthems. I'm just so inspired by you. You go and warm up your voice, ready for the national anthems. Thank you, Eva, for being part of our commentary this morning. I've really enjoyed having you in the commentary box and getting your insights into this course. We'll see you in Tucson next week.
Yes. Thank you a lot. It was nice to be here.
Eva Rahova there, incredibly talented young lady. As I said, she not only is an outstanding paddler, and you'll see that next weekend in Slovenia, but she is also, she's got one of the most beautiful singing voices, and the fans and the athletes give it a treat when she sings the national anthem of the winning team. So looking forward to that later on this morning. So now we prepare for the men, and we've got 30 men who are now vying for 10 positions, 10 spots for the final this afternoon, and this is a quality field. We've got Olympic champions, we've got world champions again, and well, some of the biggest names in the sport who will be going down on this difficult course. It is difficult, and we've seen again this morning with the women. Interestingly though, yesterday in the men's kayak final, there was only one gate touch for the entire final, which is quite incredible, the skill level from the men's kayak final yesterday. I wonder whether they can take that sort of form into the canoe today. I'm super excited to welcome into the commentary box three-time Olympian Casey Eichfeld, who is back paddling again this year. It's great to have him on the course, and it's great to have him. I know he'd prefer to be out there today on the water, but if you can't be on the water, Casey, you might as well be sitting here in the commentary box. Welcome, my friend.
Hey, how are you? Thanks so much for having me back here.
It's a difficult course. There's some challenging combinations here. We saw with the women down the bottom of the course there's some real problems, but it's a good men's field, this.
Yeah, absolutely. The course offers a lot of challenges with these double spin moves. We don't have to see two spins in one run too often these days, and so honestly I don't think we practice that very much any longer. And then coming down to the bottom of the course, we've got such a clutch move there. The muscles are burning, you're exhausted, and just the littlest slip off of that wave, and it's a lot more work to get to where you need to be. So the keeping a little bit in the reserves for that last move, I think, is important.
Yeah, if that's at all possible, because there's a lot of work to do at the top of the course as well. But we've got on the course at the moment Yves Boris from Senegal. He, of course, Yves and his brother, they've been paddling for some time now and working to qualify for Senegal for the Paris Olympics next year. That's their big goal at the moment. They've both been paddling pretty well without making finals action for a while, so it'd be good to see one of the Borises through to the final this afternoon. That was a good move.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's picking up a small touch on that second last gate, I think, though.
Yes, well, they're
Yep,
reviewing
there's the review.
Yep, they're reviewing it, so well spotted. So 104 for Yves Boris. We saw with the women, I think the fastest time was a 1:12, Casey. What would you think the men would be looking at going at? What sort of time would they want to set to get themselves into a final, do you think, in this field?
Yeah, I think that we're looking at a low 100, if not even 100. You know, I think that some of these boys are really capable of pushing that 100 limit as well.
Now, here's your American teammate. We know him as Bug. Zach Loken out on the water at the moment. Of course, you and Zach share a bit of a rivalry, of course. Zach went to the Tokyo Olympics, and I know that you're both there vying for that Paris spot, but the Bug's been paddling okay lately. Yeah,
Bug's been paddling very well. He is constantly pushing me in training and in racing, and it's good to see him pushing out here in the semifinals if I can't be out there to do it with him. But he's got a fairly solid run so far, hung up a little bit in in the first spin, but just picking up a penalty.
Oh, that's a close one.
Come on, Bugger.
That will require the judges to have a very close look. For those who are just watching the sport, oh, now he's in trouble. Now he's in big trouble. Oh, that has not gone the way that Zach Loken would have liked. He's really got to work back now to get back on track. So yes, for those who are not familiar with the sport, we have judges along the side of the course. They're watching with the naked eye to see what they can pick up. We also have a team of judges sitting in mission control who will go back and review every contentious gate, every possible touch to make sure that all the angles, and we have cameras at all different angles to make sure that we get the best possible view of the athlete going through the gates, or as it may be, not going through the gates, and then they can deliver a ruling on whether there are penalties or not. But unfortunately for Zach Loken, that time is not going to see him in finals action this afternoon. He'll be very disappointed there. Just lost a bit at the top of the course, and once you lose your line, Casey, it's very hard to pick it back up again, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. You know, any little deviation from what it is that you want to do out on the water can break that focus really easily. So it's important to have that flexibility to be able to adapt to whatever it is that happens out there, being able to act on. Lewis with the very funny cameo there.
Is that sunscreen? What was he plastered?
I don't even know.
Or was it some sort of weird cream or something?
Some lotion. Just a bunch of zinc.
He might have regretted that afterwards, because zinc in the eye can be quite painful. There was a big touch there, unfortunately for Luis Fernandez. Of course, the Spanish sending a totally different team this week to the team that we saw competing last week in Augsburg. So there's some new athletes here. Luis Fernandez, he's missed that, so he's got to go back for that as well.
Taking the chance, you know, there's some time to be gained in that offset there. The straighter you can run it, I mean, there's a whole second there, if not more, but there's a lot of risk that goes with that.
Yep. Yeah, high risk, high benefit, but if it does go wrong, then your race is pretty well over.
Yep.
Because he's got 3 touches now. It's a bit harsh. I'm sure the judges saw something that we didn't. So 3 touches and having to paddle back for a gate is going to make it very difficult. Casey, what's it like for you being back this year, mate? We didn't see a lot of you last year, of course.
Yeah, so a lot of big changes in my life. My wife and I had a little baby girl. She's 15 months now, and it's been an incredible experience. It was a really hard decision to come back out to the circuit. But I just felt I had a little too much fire left to call it quits just yet. And I want my daughter to know what it is to chase your dreams. So, you know, my wife and I came to an agreement, and here we are. But it's good to be back. Of course, I'd like to be racing in these semifinals, but, you know, that is racing.
How hard, and Luis Fernandez, unfortunately, just giving up the ghost. Well, actually, let's just concentrate on this man at the moment, Lucas Rowan, who I know will be desperate to get into the final this week. He enjoyed watching his teammate Yuri Prishovic in the final, sort of.
You know, it's always sort of, right? You know, when you're friends and competitors, it's hard to like truly mean it, but you know,
you put a brave face on it, but there's something a little bit annoying about watching a bloke who spent all his life paddling in a kayak come out in his first World Cup and make a final and then win a medal.
Yeah.
You want to be happy for him, you want to be positive, but deep down inside you're saying, stuff you.
Yeah.
I mean, Lucas wouldn't. Lucas is he's a nice guy and he's an Olympic medalist, of course. So I'm sure that deep down inside.
I'm sure the decoration helps a little bit, though. He already knows that he's proven himself well, and you know.
But I'm sure
it's just going to push him. You know, it's just another teammate that's going to push him that much harder.
And I'm sure he does not want to be upstaged by Yuri Krishkovic in front of this Czech crowd who've turned out in full force today.
Yeah, naturally. Holding together a solid run, still holding a nice strong lead of almost 3 seconds.
Yeah, so it's going well for him so far.
Increasing that lead just a little bit. Now comes that last clutch move. It looks like he's going for the very straight, very nice. Little bounce here.
That's
a little duck in there, but I think it's clear. And now straight onto the finish.
Tell you what, he could go under 100 here. It's going to be very close, just over, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, but look at that. He's happy.
Nice strong lead, yeah.
He's happy. He knows this course. He knows what it's going to take to get into the final. He feels pretty confident already that he may have a time that will see him in the top 10. So well done. Congratulations there, Lucas Rowan.
Already hitting that low 100 mark that I was thinking about. But honestly, I think that there's more time to be had in this course. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some sub 100s.
Which would be pretty awesome in the semi-final and really throw out a challenge. Now, we have a Dutch paddler, Joris Otten, who is on the course. We've seen Lena Tunison, some really strong improvement amongst the Dutch team, and great to see Joris out here paddling and vying for a place in the finals.
Yes, absolutely. Joris has really come a long way in these last couple of seasons, and making some strong results in the semifinals, or rather in the qualifications to make the semifinals, paddling very smoothly.
So, mate, when you were on your year off, did you put the boat away altogether, or did you still sneak out occasionally when the baby was asleep and get a few kilometres under your belt?
Yeah, I was still training a fair bit, but you know, there's a big difference between training and getting out on the race course. You know, the art of racing is truly something, and when you're not in the start gate, it's easy to lose that. And so I think that I'm finding my way back to that.
And is LA? You know, is that a big... Oh, there's a big touch there for Joris, unfortunately. Is LA a big carrot for you? That could potentially be a fifth Olympics if you get to Paris next year. What a great way to go out, mate.
You know, I'm taking it day by day right now. LA's a ways off, but I'm very excited about the prospects of having an Olympic Games in home country, whether I'm competing or not. You know, I hope to be involved in some capacity, and you know, it's just good to bring home the Olympics again.
I mean, far be it for me, Casey, to put thoughts in your mind, but by the time of LA, Emily is your daughter, is that right?
Amelia.
Amelia, yes. She'll be old enough to be able to go there watching Dad on the sideline. She'll be yelling out, giving you advice.
Yeah, it's kind of bonkers, right? You know,
it's
like
so
a fully
bonkers.
Functional human with language, and you know, she's already running around the house like a little mad girl. So you know, I'm sure she'll be talking by the time I'm home.
Absolutely. No, that is actually the frustrating thing, isn't it? Things you miss when you're on the road. When you get those messages saying, oh, they've just started to walk or they've just started to talk. Oh, damn, I missed that.
Yeah. Headway looking with a solid run so far here in the start. Pretty close to the split, not terribly far off. There's time to be gained in the middle and the bottom, as we've seen.
Gregor's been around for a few. You would have paddled with Gregor for many, many occasions, wouldn't you? He's been around for a few seasons.
Oh yes, he's got a little bit of time on me, I think. So we've seen a lot of national teams. Nice little pump there. Little duck.
Going okay at the moment. The important thing for Gregor is that he is clean. No touches so far.
Yep. Still in touch with that original split. A little bit of time there, just a little trip. It's a good surf though. This upstream is very tricky because it gets so close to that wall. Athletes are, you know, they're kind of weighing the risk of head ducking so they don't get in there too much, and you know, but if you're too deep, you're going to tap the stern on the wall, get stuck there. There's just a little brush there.
I think so.
That judge is standing right on that gate, so I'd be surprised if they missed it.
Yeah, but that judge has eyes like a meerkat, so would have picked that up straight away. Look at that.
Straight into the review.
Straight into the hit R for review.
A little more conservative there on the wave for the surf. He just doesn't want to throw it away in that last move.
So Lucas Rowan's time is a 101 clean, and Gregor's going to go into about a 105, and though he does have potential. Well, I think pretty certain there was a brush there, wasn't there? Let's have a look at that.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, that's you can see just a slight sway there.
That's all it has to be. That's all it has to be.
And there it is.
Yep, 2 seconds added on now, unfortunately for Gregor. Hedwig, which drops him down to third, and Kasper Stuber, who another of the strong. And when I say strong, he is a very strong man. He's got muscles on top of his muscles.
Yes, absolutely. This man is a Hulk.
He is a Hulk.
It's impressive to watch him in the gym. I've trained a couple of times in the Krakow gym when he's in there. And
I'd walk out.
I do.
I would walk out. If I walked in there and saw him there, I'd say, "Oh, sorry, I've come into the wrong."
There's nothing.
I was looking for the toilets.
Nothing more emasculating than watching Kasper lifting some weight. I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's my 1 rep max. That's your warm up. Whoa, brother.
What is it? Does it equate necessarily to being a good paddler? I mean, obviously, there are certain courses around the world, Casey, where if you've got that muscle, you've got that power, it's going to give you a bit of an advantage. But you look at guys like Yuri Priskovic, and they're not big, hulking guys. So what sort of a benefit does it have to have this muscle builder?
You know, I think that a lot of it depends on the personality of the athlete, the body build of the athlete. You know, we see athletes like Kasper here, but then you know, Mikael Traves, not massive, but the man is just an absolute talent, and proves that you don't have to be absolutely hulking. He's very strong, he's very solid, but you know, I don't think that he's benching anything like Kasper is, but it just takes all body types.
And unfortunately for Kasper, I think his big bulky chest, his muscly chest, cost him 2 seconds there, because he tried to slide under the gate, but his chest muscles were so big that they brushed the bottom of the gate. So he's going to have to go back to the drawing board now and maybe shed some weight. Shed some muscle.
Yeah, you know, it's really tricky when this water is sliding in all these different directions, finding that sweet spot so that you're not too wide but you're not too tight. It's just Prague is one of those really slidey courses like that.
Yep. Robert Hendrick from Ireland now is on the course. By the way, Kasper Stuber with a touch, still now sitting in second spot, so the touch could actually be quite detrimental for him overall, but his time with the touch was a 105.61, and we're looking already, if we take a line through Lucas Rowan's run, that the time around the 100 is going to be what's required to guarantee you a spot in the top 10, because we have
bounce there.
Lovely bounce, yes.
Yeah, just a little bit behind that first split time, but Robert is cutting the lines very nice up right there.
Exciting times, Casey, in the States. I was talking to one of your teammates the other day, Justin Sherman. He was telling me, Jordan Sherman, sorry, telling me that there are a few new courses online there. There are some new paddling areas popping up around the country. It's exciting stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We just opened a new facility in Alabama. I think that it's fairly similar design to the course that we have in Charlotte, but bigger whitewater, and hopefully going to be a little bit more slalom oriented.
You've got Oklahoma, of course, as well. And,
Oklahoma, Charlotte, and then we still have Deep Creek potentially in the chamber for future venues.
Yeah, it's great to have so many options on the table.
Oh,
unfortunately for Robert, unfortunately for Robert, a couple of touches and a little bit messy at the middle of the course.
Yeah. You know, he was gaining time on that second split. It was looking good, but then just a little bit offline there at the bottom. Had a very little wobble in that last move, but you know, good way to finish.
Yep.
Very straight line for that last offset. Yeah.
So we have we're 8 paddlers down now. There are 30 altogether in the semi-final, of which only 10 go through. And already here we have a former world champion on the course, Franz Anton. He was desperately disappointed to miss the Olympics. It was such a tight race between him and Sidiris Tassiadis for that Olympic spot for the German team. Franz just missing out, so he's super determined to try and get back to the Olympics this year for Paris. Paddling well.
This is smooth. I think that's a water touch.
I think
hopefully they get the benefit there.
Yeah, so
a little piton there on the up.
So you are allowed to, if the water from your boat or from you touches the pole, that's okay. The judge, it's a tough one for the judges to rule on, but you shouldn't be given a 2-second penalty if it is the water that touches the gate.
And we can see they are reviewing that. Very much in touch on both splits so far. Just a little slow in the upright there, but he's going to get on it now and really try to close that gap. Moving the boat well here. So it's a nice little jump.
And it looks like they've given him the all clear, so it was a water splash, which is good news for Franz Anton. He doesn't have to make up 2 seconds at the bottom of the course, but he needs to be clean here. He's a little bit slow compared to the time of Lucas Rowan, but let's see how he goes here. He's a good, strong paddler, Franz. He's
holding on tight to that stroke, just trying not to slip away. That was fairly good, carrying good speed through the second to last gate, and now on. It's not going to be enough to overtake the lead, though.
Into second, though, for Franz Anton, which will give him a nervous wait for the rest of the semi-final. For Franz Anton at 104.53. Now, Paolo Ketchon from Italy is on the course. And, of course, the Italians always have a strong combination, but it's wide open, really, the race for Italy for selection. Well, first of all, of course, they've got to earn the quota, and like Germany, they had to work hard last year to get the quota for Tokyo and to rely on, I think it was the Continentals, didn't they, to get through in the end, from memory, for the Italians, but desperate to lock away a quota in London this year. Who will get the opportunity to do it? That's the next big question for the Italians. Of course, you can still take 3 athletes to London, can't you, for your World Championships, but you can only win 1 quota.
Correct.
Oh, he's missed that. He's missed that. Come on, go back, don't throw it away. Oh, no, you've got to still go back.
It's a big decision to make, you know. It's a lot of emotions are running high when you're out on the course. And sometimes that disappointment and anger just take over. And
I know that he would be absolutely devastated, but surely you've got to try and finish the course off well, don't you? Just for your own confidence.
Yeah, I am a personal advocate for that, but I do know the struggle.
Yeah, well, he's completing the course now, but he has got 2 missed gates, so that's going to be very disappointing for him. But he's done well there. He's got through that without too much. Maybe that's the way to do it without panicking. Just it doesn't look like the athlete you want to engage in a conversation with just yet. Just steer clear for a little while.
Yeah, give him a minute.
About a day or 2. Just get over it. And this is, I love the Czech crowd. They're so knowledgeable and they're so fair, Casey. Unless you're going to knock off Yuri Priskovic for gold, they're generally a fair crowd and they appreciate the efforts. And I think a lot of the athletes talk about how great it is to have that support here in Prague.
Yeah, absolutely. The bleachers are always packed. They're always noisy. It's really good to see so many people coming out to enjoy our sport, you know, coming from the United States where we don't have that kind of awareness or support. It's really exciting to come to events like this.
So Brodie Crawford, the big Australian, is on the course. I gave him a good incentive last week to make sure that he got through to the final because I told him that he was in the commentary box last week and I said to him, if you want to avoid the commentary, my friend, just get out there and get into a semi-final and a final. And he took it down, he wrote that down. Some strong advice. And it's good to see he's already putting it to force because he's managed to get into a semi. Now he wants to try and get himself a ticket to the final.
Yeah, very much in touch so far with that first leading time. You know, About a second and a half back is not terrible. There's some time to be gained down here, although Lucas did do this move quite well, so maybe not that much time to gain on him. Although the deficit has grown considerably. Taking that really, just slipping.
No, he missed it. He missed the gate, so he was tracking pretty well. Well, he's lost a lot of time, got back pretty well, but that's going to take him out of the mix. Unfortunately for Brodie Crawford, he'll be pretty happy to have a clean run, but just missing that gate, and that's the big difference, unfortunately, for Brodie Crawford. It is a tough move, Casey, a really tough move across there. Well, Matej Banush, we know what he's capable of. He's been around for a few. He's been to a few Olympics alongside you, Casey. He's tall. He's one of the tallest athletes in the competition. Super fast. Always very keen fight amongst the Slovaks for that Olympic berth. And he always paddles well. He grew up, of course, watching Mikhail Mardikin paddle, and then paddled alongside him for many years. And on his day, we know how fast he can be.
Absolutely. He is, like you said, probably the tallest athlete on the course with us. And especially being in the C1, he has so much reach. His paddling style is very specific to him. You can see he can really hug the upstreams, unlike any of us can do. That big wingspan, really stretching that neck to get around some of those gates. It's very impressive, some of the things that he can pull off. You know, but despite that height, he has such good balance. You know, you never really see him unstable. That center of gravity can really throw you off, and you know, he's spent a lot of time learning to use that to his advantage. Always keeping his core nice and tight over the center of the boat. Nice bouncing.
It would be somewhat of a shock, I think, if he didn't make the final. He was in good form last week. I think he picked up the silver medal in Augsburg, so he's in good form.
Yeah, paddling well. Nice little punt there. Still about a second and a half back here. See how this bounce goes.
But 3 seconds at the moment, Casey, between Lucas Rowan's time and Franz Anton's time, so there's plenty of room for him to sneak in. Yeah, he's going to go in. He's going to go in second, I think, now, which is a good effort.
Yep.
For Matej Banush. Should be enough, we think. Although, you know, we've still got. We're not even halfway through this semi-final yet, so a lot can happen. But I'm thinking a 102.8 clean will be a challenging time for a few more of these athletes who are still to come. Jay Cochran now from Ireland. Good to see a strong Irish contingent here in the semis.
Yeah, absolutely. I think all three of them are in, right?
Yep. Of course, they all spend a lot of time training in France, and I think we're seeing the benefits of that time spent on down in Po, especially. They spend a lot of time there in the winter. Goodness knows why they don't stay in Ireland and paddle in the winter. What's wrong with that?
Well, you know, there's something to be said about getting to train with athletes that you race with all season long. You know, you push each other, you learn from each other. Getting to paddle on a variety of courses is really important. You know, no one course, no one channel is the same for us, and so the more experience you get, the better that mental encyclopedia is, and the more prepared you're going to be for whatever gates or course you're racing on. So I think that it's been really beneficial for these boys, and you see it.
And one thing I must say about canoe slalom, it's a sport, Casey, is that there is that camaraderie there amongst the athletes from all countries. You know, you see in so many sports, athletes go out of their way to not let opposing athletes know anything about their training methods or about their secrets. They don't share any information they have. It's all very self-focused and team-focused. What I gather from what I've seen from the canoe slalom community is there is a willingness there to share information and to work alongside each other. This is a good time, by the way, where we're seeing a good run here from Jake Cochran. I think he'd be pretty happy with this. He's slipped into 6th spot. I don't know to be good enough for a final, but he'd be relatively happy having no mistakes, which should be good. Yeah, this willingness for everybody to work together, it's something quite unique, I think, to the canoe slalom community.
Yeah, absolutely. And we come from a smaller sport. It's much stronger in the European nations, but it still, nevertheless, is a fairly small sport. So, you know, being there for each other is super important.
Now, Miguel Trave, one of the handful of athletes who does both K1 and C1, and does it exceptionally well. I mentioned the other day, Casey, I first saw this guy, I can't remember whether it was a junior or an under 23, and he went out in the C1 first of all and blew everyone away, and then went out in the K1 the next day and did exactly the same thing. Phenomenal athlete, just super talented and able to do both of these disciplines exceptionally well, and always exciting guy to watch on the water.
Yes, absolutely. He's just crushing the course right now, taking a very nice tight line through 9. Very stable here, good little bounce here. He feels the water really well. He's also a fairly light athlete, so he gets some benefit from that, but just all of the combination of the understanding of the water, the power to body weight ratio, he's so strong. He's very solid. And he keeps that stroke in the water a lot. He's got good pressure on that blade, which keeps him in good control. As you can see, he doesn't cut the lines too much. You know, there's a little bit of space between him and the gate, and it just lets him carry that speed really effectively. A little tail tap there, but holding the speed together nonetheless.
So Mikel Trave from Spain, at the moment, the time he is chasing is a 1:01.07. That's the time set by the Czech Lukáš Rowan. And he's thereabouts. So he's a little bit off Rowan's split time, but no penalties. He's going to move into second position, or third. So he's just outside Matej Benuš's time as well. So a 1:03.41 for Mikel Trave, which it's going to be on the bubble, I think, isn't it, Casey? That's going to be around about. We're going to be looking at these guys later on in this semi-final. They're going to be sitting there for a little while in the final, and can they hold on?
Yeah, it's always really funny, the congregation of athletes that have just gone down who know that they're close, and they sit in front of that screen and they just watch.
Yep.
They just watch and hope.
They sort of cheer, but not too loudly. Would be refined about this sort of thing. Nicolas Guestin from France. We talk about exciting young talents. This guy has really grown in the past couple of seasons, come through the junior ranks and the under 23 ranks, and it just seems to have been a seamless transition for him into the senior ranks. He really started to make a mark almost from the get-go in the senior ranks. Very strong competition for positions on the French team. We know that. I mean, any team that can leave and
just a little offline there.
Any team, I was going to say, Casey, who can afford to leave an Olympic gold medalist sitting at home has got to be a pretty strong team.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the French have always been such a packed team. You know, I feel like there's regularly turnover among the athletes that take part in the seasons, just because they have such a depth of athletes that are all very capable of being World Cup and World Champions.
And Olympic champions.
And Olympic champions.
Denis Gagouchenou is watching at home and couldn't make the team, so that's how strong the French team is at the moment. But Nicolas Guestin, he has got a touch. Oh, and there's another one. 2 touches. 3 touches. That's the semi. That's the race over. Unfortunately for Nicolas Guestin, he had the commentator's curse riding him all the way down the course. And unfortunately, that will keep him out of the final this afternoon. So he'll be very disappointed. But it got a bit sloppy there, didn't it? Ooh, just with the chin strap, was it?
Yeah, cutting that very close. You know, this course is pretty offset, and so these athletes are going to be weighing the balance of taking those straighter lines for the faster times. But you know, there's a lot of risk in either missing those gates altogether or at least touching them. And so, you know, we can already see that there are very few clean runs. And the cleaner you are, tends to make you a little bit slower right now. Watching that bow on the outside poles of all these offsets, of these spins, the downs immediately after the spin.
And here's the third of our Irish competitors, Liam Jagu. And now he does spend a lot of time in Po, and he's actually won a gold medal there at a World Cup. So, or was it a Briar Cup? I'm getting old, I have a hazy memory, but he certainly paddles very well at Po. He'd be loving to pick up a good result at a course like Prague. We know he's fast.
Just a little on the tail there.
Now we should also mention, we saw in the replay there, they were looking closely at Nicolas Guestin through that gate. It's one thing to get your head through, but Casey, you've also got to get some of your boat through the gate as well.
Yeah, at the same time, you know, one can't follow the other. So we occasionally see these athletes, they'll put the bow through the gate and then they lean over the edge of the boat as the boat has left the gate, and just not enough.
No. And it's a tricky thing. It's a tricky job the judges have to do, and they'll be the first to say they don't always get it right. But you know, it's tough sometimes to work out just what's gone through the gate and whether enough has gone through the gate. Liam having a little bit of trouble here as well.
Good recovery though. He realized what was happening. I think that was the best plan of attack for the situation, but unfortunately, all in all,
yeah,
it's just going to be a little
time slipping away for him now. So 10th is not good enough when you have only 10 going through to the final. We're over halfway, so in a moment or two we're going to start seeing some cues appearing alongside some of these athletes as the race for the top 10, the final, starts to heat up, and we have another Italian, Flavio Macosi, on the course. Again, another paddler who we've seen come through the juniors under 23 ranks in recent years, and fast. It'd be super exciting for him if he could make a final here, especially in Prague. It would be a big feather in his cap.
Yeah, unfortunately picking up a touch on gate 4. And just almost 5 seconds down on the first split, but there's time to be gained if you can keep things together through the bottom half.
These young paddlers, they don't know fear, Casey. They don't care. They just throw it out there and see what happens for some of them, and he will need to do that at the bottom of this course, Flavio, if he wants to have a crack at making the final. He's just a little bit slow out of that gate as well, and getting across. It's a difficult combination as well, the 14-15.
Yep, I'm looking like a review on gate 12.
Yeah. So that's tough. 2 seconds penalty of gate 4, so that'll be tough if that second touch is confirmed. That'll almost rule him out of the final. You would think he'd have to do something super fast here for Flavio Macosi from Italy. He's our 17th paddler on the course. We have 30 athletes who will take to the water. And unfortunately, now we can see there on the bottom of the screen the time just sneaking out now and puts him outside the top 10. So into 12th position for Flavio Macosi. No finals action this afternoon for him. And that means that, well, we still have another Italian to come, of course. We have Rafael Evaldi, who was good in Augsburg and good again the other morning in Prague. Now, can this bloke do it 2 weeks in a row?
Oh, I don't know. This man feeds on the energy of home. It's unreal watching this guy paddle. You know, he has proven himself already in his first ever World Cup in a canoe. And, you know, this is a man that just has an unreal feeling of the water. Just absolute understanding. He was born with it, man. It's unreal to watch.
Talking to him after the race last week, you sort of got the impression that he felt like he got away with something, that he got away with something he shouldn't have been able to get away with. And Casey, you watched the final last week. I think if we're honestly hand on our heart, it wasn't the greatest final that we're ever going to see in canoe slalom. There are a lot of mistakes made, a lot of athletes really blew opportunities. But look at Briskovich is up.
Just pulling his usual Yuri, finding the walls, getting on that tail, and getting pops here and there that really accelerate that boat. He is finding time wherever he can. He has got a real understanding of this course. Swinging really wide though, but a stellar bounce. Really not a lot of time lost there. Let's see what the second split's going to look like.
I mean, honestly,
and still 2 seconds he's found, even with the wide line. Very straight. Wowzers, is he going to slip?
Get out of here.
Oh, hold that pressure.
Get out of here.
Here's our first sub 100.
Get out of here. Seriously?
Oh,
what are we?
Unreal.
You know.
There it is.
What the heck?
There it is.
I mean, you can tell us, Yuri Prišović, that it was a fluke last week, but my friend, you've gone under 100 seconds. What are we watching? What are we seeing happen in this sport, Casey? I thought that a guy can come across at his second World Cup and go under 100, be the first athlete to go under 100. bloody annoying if you've been paddling in canoe for 5 years, 6 years to see that happen, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, but anybody who argues it doesn't understand very well then, because when you watch him, it just has such a great understanding. Yeah, he gets on the tail a little bit, but Yuri has always had a really flashy style of paddling.
Well, Vaclav Chaluka, he would have been sitting up there and he would have heard the crowd going off, the Czech crowd, and he would have been going, look at me, I've got to go out there and do a superhuman run.
Looking great on that top first split, though.
Yep. We already have Czechs sitting in positions 1 and 2. We had silver and gold and silver yesterday for them in the K1. Could they win 3 medals? Could they trifecta today? Let's not get ahead of ourselves, though. We've got to get into the final. Ooh.
Good little save there, though.
Of course, Vaclav Chaluka is a former world champion, so he is no slouch at all in the canoe.
Absolutely, and having the home course knowledge is super helpful. You see really pulling there.
So
still very much in touch.
Yep. Chaluka.
Very nice bounce.
Look at the crowd. It is jam-packed. There is not a spare seat in the house. They are here in force. You can hear them. You can hear the commentator getting behind the local lad, Vaclav Chaluka. His time is close.
Whoa! Opting for the spin. He knew that he slid off the wave a lot. It might still be enough. He just needs to push.
He's going to be definitely top 3. He's going to go through in a 102, I think. Oh, 101.99.
Oh, just scraped it in there. Just scraped it in there. But, you know, honestly, I think that might be enough.
I think it's going to be. He's got an asterisk next to his name. I don't know which gate they're looking at there, but 101.99. And at the moment, Casey Oakfield, we've got 3 Czechs at the top of the leaderboard.
Oh.
What do you reckon, mate? What do you reckon?
You know, that looks about an inch short to me. What's that, 2 centimeters? 2.5 centimeters?
Yeah.
Well, oh, but they pulled it. Asterisk is gone, and they're going to keep it.
They're giving it well. That'll keep the home crowd happy.
Yeah. 3 Czechs and
maybe if they were in Augsburg, it might have been a 50. No, that's not the way they think. Nobody thinks like that. Adam Burgess. Wow, he's super fast at the top of the course. And here is a guy who could really challenge the Czechs, I think, Casey. A guy who, if he's near his best form, he would really throw down a serious challenge to the Czechs at the top of the leaderboard right now.
Yes, I would agree with that. Adam generally keeps things inside the gates. So I think you know, we might be seeing the effect of that though in this next split.
Yeah,
these boys are, you know, these home boys are willing to really cut the lines a lot, and they're finding time there, as we've seen.
Yeah, there is at the moment there's 4 seconds between Pristovic, who's first, and Banush, who's 4th. So there is a big gap there in the top 4. In fact, the top at the moment, the top 5, it's more than 5 seconds. So there is a bit of room there, Casey, and he's now nearly 4 seconds under the split, but that will still put him in a top 5 position if he can maintain this speed and if he gets this move right, which he's done okay.
Yeah, a little time loss there, though. You know, boat having to move very sideways across the river rather than downstream, but he's pushing 104 with a touch, 103.66. Ah, he's going to be kicking himself for that touch.
Yep, that touch is costly. That's put him into 6th position. And it's going to be nervous wait for him. We've now got into the top 10. And we're going to start seeing athletes qualifying for finals now, and Thomas Kochland from Switzerland sporting the really solid sideburns this year. I like a lot. I said to him the other day, I said, I'm really liking the look. I think he's quite proud of it. He's done well.
He's a man of his own style. He just does whatever he wants to do.
He marches to the beat of his own drum.
Absolutely.
And doesn't care what anybody else thinks, and he gets the job done.
Yep. He's also another one of our hulking paddlers. You know, those biceps are rather impressive.
He's worked hard on that over the winter months. He's one of the funniest guys. First time I met him, Casey, was in Australia at the Under-23 World Championships, and he was he was pulling down the canvas on top of the tent that he was in, and one of the famous Australian spiders fell out and landed on his hand. And I've never heard a scream so loud. And he was he was absolutely mortified that he could die because this Australian spider had fallen on his head.
Oh, I mean, Australia's kind of trying to kill you all the time, isn't it, though?
Come on, man, you're American. What are you talking about? You've got those bloody big tarantula-type things and the rattlesnakes.
Yeah, the rattlesnakes, but you got to be in the right part of the country for those. You just got to know where to live.
Well, I can report because I saw the spider and it wasn't even a poisonous one. But he got a lot of mileage out of that, and he did a lot of interviews. I think a lot of people in Switzerland wanted to hear about their local hero who had fought off an Australian spider and lived to tell the story.
Oh, dropping the T-grip.
Oh, get back there, Thomas, get back. Oh, no. And he just yells out now. He's... and
There's
again,
that emotion.
Oh, he's not happy. He's not happy. He's not even going to... He's so unhappy, he's not even going to acknowledge the last gate. He's not even going to accept that it's there. Sorry, Thomas, it was the story of the spider, I think, that's throwing him off course there. Oh, look. Oh, yeah, he's just lost it. Oh, look at that. You can't do that, can you, Casey? That's difficult.
You know, something we haven't acknowledged about this move is it's also rather shallow. The back-to-back stoppers, it's very easy to hit those blocks, and I actually think that we've seen a few people hit their paddle on there, but this is the first time we've seen someone drop it.
So what that means is that Yuri Prishkovic is the first athlete into the final. 2 weeks in a row, Yuri Prishkovic into a final. Who will join him in the top 10? Jules Bernadette, another of the young French paddlers wanting to make their mark amongst the big guns in canoe slalom. Bouncing along on the water at the moment, looking pretty comfortable out there.
Yeah, doing very well, holding on to that first split, very much in touch. Jump here. It's a little bit back and forth, maybe not the straightest we've seen, but still very much in touch.
Jules Bernadette from France, looking to join Yuri Prishkovic in the final. At the moment, the leaderboard, well, it's got a very Czech feel to it. Positions 1, 2, and 3, all held by the local paddlers. Who can upset the apple cart here today? Oh, there's a touch.
Punching that gate on the way around on that crossbow draw.
So the top 5 paddlers at the moment, Casey, all have clean runs. And will that be a determining factor when we come to deciding the top 10? That the first paddler in the list with a touch is Adam Burgess. He's sitting in 6th position at the moment with that single touch with a 2-second penalty. So top 5 all had clean runs.
Still very competitive here.
It is. It's gone into 5th position with a touch for Jules Bernadette. Is that going to be enough? Lucas Rowan is into the final, so definitely 2 Czechs will race this afternoon. The third of the Brits, or the second in the final, Ryan Wesley now on the course, looking to book his ticket straight into the final, and the time for him to beat to go straight in would be a 101.99. Let's call it a 102 amongst friends. He needs to go under 102 to get himself straight into the final, because that is the time of Vaclav Chalupka at the moment, sitting in 3rd position. It's a long wait for these athletes sitting at the top of the course, waiting for their chance to get out there. They can hear the commentary, they can hear the crowd. They would have heard the excitement for all the Czech paddlers. What do you reckon that does to the mindset, Casey, when you're sitting up there on the water waiting to go and you hear the crowd going off? You know they're getting excited, which obviously means the paddlers have done well. What does that do for their mindset? You know, every athlete's different with this. Some athletes hear it, some athletes don't, some athletes like it, some athletes don't. You know, it's interesting. It's one of the areas where you really see the many different personalities. For me, I don't really hear a whole lot of it, but I have teammates that hear it, that like it. You know, I think the biggest no-no is that most athletes don't want you calling their name. You know, because then it's a distraction. Really? Otherwise, the noise is just background noise. Do you like to know the time you need to beat when you go out there, or you just want to do your own race and not be distracted by... Ooh, opting for the very straight line there, forcing the spin. Can we get over there? Yeah. Just ducking it in there. Here we go. It's going to be a push for him, though. He's really got to move it. Yep, 105. He's got to go. 102 is the time he needs to go straight in. No, that's going to be tough, I think. Yeah, I think we're not going to see a finals for Ryan this time. No. Brave move for Ryan Wesley, but unfortunately not coming together. So there we go, 3 Czechs into the final already. And we've got a handful of athletes to come, including, by the way, the Olympic champion, who could upset the apple cart. He could really upset the locals this afternoon. He was pretty determined after last week's disappointment to go out and make amends here today. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, because we've got Marko Mrgorodsky, who has he's been biding his time, Casey, for so long, waiting for, I mean, he's had Banush, he's had Slavkovsky, he's had Mardik, all sitting there in front of him. You know, there's some pretty formidable talent there. He's waited and he's waited and waited, and this year he's getting his opportunity, and he's going to grab it with both hands, I think. We know how good he is. It's incredible that a guy of this talent was sitting on the sidelines for so long.
Yeah, you know, and that's something we see with these European nations. Some of them are just have such depth in certain categories that, you know, you have world champion class athletes sitting on the sidelines, you know, training and hoping for their opportunity to prove themselves.
Oh, that's not a good touch there. You'd be disappointed there. That's an easy touch he could have avoided there for a 2-second penalty. That's going to make it difficult for him. Marko Mrgorodsky.
Still in touch though. You know, if we look at that second split and the 2 seconds, there's time. There's a lot of time lost there though.
So it's at the moment it's Slovak against Slovak, because it's Matej Banuš who's waiting to find out if he can get into the final. So either way, we're going to have a Slovakia in the final. Is it going to be Marko Mrgorodsky or is it going to be Matej Banuš? Banuš's time is a 102.88. It's going to be outside that time. So Banuš goes into the final, and Mrgorodsky, unfortunately, 10th at the moment. I don't know that. Pretty certain he's not going to be in the final. So Banuš joins Kristovic, Rohan and Chalupka in what is already looking like a star-studded final. Yeah.
Luka Bozic, number 2 in the world.
Yeah. Great season last season. Again, we talk about the rivalry amongst teams, and incredible in Slovenia. You have Bozic and Savcek, who both of them, if they went to the Olympics, would be pre-games favourites for medals, but only one can go. And of course in Tokyo with Savcek, and he won that gold medal, which was so big for Slovenia. They haven't won a lot of Olympic gold medals, so it was a watershed moment for that tiny country. But Benny Savcek, who will be up in just a moment, we're seeing now Luka Bozic, who is very, very fast paddler. Been around for a few seasons now. Always looks very competent on the water. Always looks very tidy, I think. Casey.
Yes, right now paddling very smooth. A little struggle there, though. You know, he started out as a C2 paddler, though, and carried that strength with him. I think that, you know, he gained a lot of knowledge there. You saw him lean forward on the bow. He knew the bow was going to be coming up, but just released that pressure a little too early, taking on that touch.
Yeah, that's going to be frustrating for him. It's going to be a superhuman effort now to get through to a final with a gate touch.
Yep, just a little tight there. Time is slipping away on him. Very snug on that upstream there, but still 6 seconds back.
Given that he's had a touch, would he now be thinking, I need to take a risk here that I might not have taken initially when I set off on my run?
You know, I think one of the biggest dangers for athletes is to change the plan actively before you've gotten to the situation. If you're taking your focus away from what it is you're doing in that moment, you're really setting yourself up for time loss and mistakes.
Yep. Well, that's unfortunately for Luka Bozic, that has not turned out the way he would like. So we have half the men's final locked away, with Jules Bernadette now added to the top 5. He will have the opportunity to paddle for gold this afternoon. The next paddler on the course, Timo Trummer from Germany, looking to make his mark for a German team which has been dominated for so long by Sidiris Tassiadis and Franz Anton. And Timo Trummer now, he wants to come through and make his own mark. He's got an opportunity to do so. He is looking at going under the time set by Mikel Trave from Spain. Trave had a 103.41. So Timo Trummer needs to be, he's a bit behind the split at the no way.
unfortunate, just running that line. Just not quite enough bounce on that stopper to get back over there.
No.
And subsequent 50.
Yeah, he wasn't in the mix, unfortunately, for Timo Trummer. But good to see he's fighting this out now. He's going to learn from this experience. Every time these young guys get out there is an opportunity to test yourself, and also obviously to improve yourself mentally of how to deal with disappointment.
Yeah, absolutely. But Trave breathing a sigh of relief and knowing that he gets to race in the finals now.
Yep. And already we're seeing an interesting mix, Casey. We've got some experienced paddlers in there, but we're seeing a couple of youngsters. Mikael Trave is there, Jules Bernadette is there, Vaclav Chalupka is there. So we've got 3 of the exciting young paddlers coming through, and they're going to take it up to the experienced guys like Vanush Pristovic and Rohan.
You know, it's funny, I heard a little rumor that there were some ICF that weren't super pleased with how difficult the course was for the kayaks, but that we just needed to wait for the canoes, and here we can already see that there's a fair bit of upset. You know, good mix.
I can't believe that the ICF would be disappointed about anything, would they? What are you talking about? Oh, it's the ICF. We're everybody's friend. Everybody's friend. Everybody loves the ICF, and the ICF loves everybody. Anyway, that's a discussion for another day. Now, the number 1 is on the chest of this man for very good reason, because he is the world leader.
An entire second in the first portion of the course. Just a little slow in that spin there, but this man, I have seen this man podium with 3 touches on this course. So I have no expectations of him missing out.
Benny Savsek, one of the nicest guys off the water as well. I just love talking to him and hearing his thoughts on. He's still, look at that time, he's still cruising here with a good time. It would be nice, and I don't want to upset the Czech fans, but it would be nice to have somebody split up that top 3 at the moment, because it's got a very distinct Czech flavour about it. And here's the man who could possibly do it, Benny Savsek. He is very determined to put down a good performance. He was a little bit disappointed last week missing a medal. He doesn't do it very often. And gee, Casey, he's on track. Oh, a little bit outside now, but let's see what he does here.
Still very in touch, very calculating. You can see his stroke rate is a little slower.
Ooh.
Oh, but done very, very nicely there.
So Benny Savsek, I think he could go under the 100. We could have our second athlete under 100. Could we? No, just over, but into second position. The apple cart has been upset at the top of the leaderboard.
He knew it, though. You can see, maybe they'll replay it in the last gate. He takes a little peek at the clock. He looks to see where he is.
He knew that he had it under control, do you think?
Yeah, I think that he felt. I think you'd have seen a little bit more oomph at the end if he thought he was outside.
Now, Sidiris Tassiadis showed what it's like to win at home last week. Was in very, very good form. Enjoyed very much the experience of racing at home. He's pretty accomplished on most courses around the world. You don't see him struggle too often, do you, Casey? He seems to be able to adapt to whatever the conditions are. I like watching him paddle. He always puts his best out there no matter what the situation.
Absolutely. He's a very reactive paddler. Wow, interesting technique there. I think that was maybe not planned.
I don't think so. There seemed to be like a head move there that wasn't necessary. But he's okay. He's still... We are looking at the moment, it's Adam Burgess who's on the bubble at the moment with a 103.66 for Adam Burgess. And that was with a gate touch. So Tassiadis... Oh... It doesn't matter because Burgess is there with a gate touch as well, so it's not out of the question for Sidiris Tassiadis to still get under that time and to get himself into a final. It almost seems offensive, Casey, to have a final without Sidiris Tassiadis in it. It's a little bit slow there as well, so he's going to have to work here. He's going to have to really get it.
5.5 seconds back.
He's going to have to get it absolutely 100% right here to get through.
Good bounce here.
Is he going to do it?
On the tail.
Oh, and another touch. I think that's going to be... Is it going to be too hard? 103.66 he's got to go under, well and truly outside that. There is no final today. He can't believe it. Sidiris Tassiadis. The That's the pressure, Casey Eichel. That is the pressure.
That is the pressure.
In Prague, on a course where the Czech crowd has already shown that there is 3 Czechs in the final. Now, Rafi Evaldi had a fantastic heat run, as he did in Augsburg, but he couldn't, unfortunately, transform that into a run to get him into a good position for the final. So can he do it this week?
Opting for the double spin. I think that was very quick, though. He was a little bit low on the wave, and I think if he'd chosen the direct line, he would have been a bit more stuck in that eddy, losing a lot more time. You can still see very in touch with the split despite the double spin. So I think that was a really good call on his part.
So Adam Burgess is into the final with a gate touch, which is pretty good. Jules Bernadette, by the way, also has a gate touch. He's in the final. So on the cusp at the moment is another Brit, Ryan Wesley, with a time of 104.36. That is the time that Rafi Evaldi needs to beat. He's the second last paddler on the course. There are 2 spots left in the final. At the moment, those 2 athletes are Ryan Wesley and Franz Anton. They are both sitting there chewing their fingernails right now. I don't know whether they're watching, maybe they're out the back just, you know, playing dominoes or something like that to take their mind off what's happening.
Slipping wide there. Good bounce, but just a little slow in that last up left.
So down with 3.5.
Still in touch, opting for the spin here to give himself a better angle setup. I think that worked fairly well. Good bounce here. So now for the push.
104.36 is what he's got to go under. It's going to be tight.
That is going to be tight.
It's going to be very, very tight. I think he's going to go just under, is he? Yes, he is. Oh, he says, I don't believe it. How did that happen?
But we do have an asterisk, so we're going to see what they decide. Means that they're looking at a touch.
Yeah, because at the moment, it's gone off straight away.
And very good.
So
Rafi Evaldi.
Rafi Evaldi is into the final. Now this guy has really surprised everybody, hasn't it? We hadn't seen him for a little while. Lucas Rosen came back last week, blew everyone away in the heats of the C1 and did it again here. I mean, the guy's fast.
Just very fast, very flashy, very quick first spin there into a nice direct. Coming into our second spin here now for the crossbow form. Half a second up on, just a little hung up, but I think very smooth still.
He's so smooth. Look, he barely looks like he's even. He's just letting the boat do the work. He's just looking really, really at peace, isn't he, on the water? He's just cruising through that combination there, nice and tidy. A little bit down now, so again, it's still Ryan Wesley who's in the gun here. He is sitting in 10th spot at the moment.
Opting for the punt there. I think as a lefty, that's a pretty solid option. Get up and away. Biggest issue is just to make sure you don't push straight out and into that gate pole.
So good so far, nice and tidy for Lucas Rosen. He would really want to move that heat form into a semi-final run here, and at the moment he is on track.
Very nice last up left there.
2.76, that's okay. He can absorb that and get himself into the final, but needs to get through here. Oh, that's good. That's all right. He's okay. I think he's going to make the final.
I think so too.
This is a good result for the Frenchman, Lucas Rogen. He will go through to this afternoon's final, ranked 7th. Big relief, I'm sure, for him, Casey, to have got through now and to show that heat form can also progress into good semi-final form. So we have a Frenchman in the final. We have 2 Frenchmen in the final. Let's have a look now at the makeup of our men's C1. The guy at the top, I cannot believe, Yuri Priskovic. He'll be the last paddler on the water. Going
That's
for
the
gold.
way he likes it, though. Man, the crowd is going to be
The crowd is
real.
If you are nearby, if you're anywhere near the Troya Arena this afternoon, just come on down because it's going to be a sight to behold. 3 Czechs in the final. Let's have a look. We have Yuri Priskovic. We have the Olympic champion going off second last, Benjamin Savsek. Lucas Rowan, Vaclav Chalupka, Matej Banush, Jules Bernadette, Lucas Royzen, Mikkel Trave, Adam Burgess, and Rafi Evaldi. What do you make of that final?
I think we have a really great mix of paddlers here. Some experience, some new, and I think we're in for really, really tremendous finals. I am 3 Czechs, man. You know, I've seen a Czech sweep in the men's kayak, but are we looking at a men's sweep in the men's canoe?
Well, there's some quality there who I'm sure will have a very strong say in the final this afternoon. Some good athletes missed out, but that is our sport. You can only get 10 into a final, and unfortunately, some of the big names will be watching on in the stands this afternoon and cheering on their teammates or their friends. As we said, it's a very close-knit community. The men's final, well, that's set down for 10 past midday local time. So we're looking at about an hour from now before the men head off. The women are about half an hour away from the final. So we've got some great action coming your way. Make sure you come back, go off now, have a little toilet break, maybe get yourself, depending what time of the day it is, where you're watching, maybe a cup of coffee, or if it's somewhere where it's quite acceptable and it's after 9 o'clock in the morning, something a bit stiffer, just to get you prepared, Casey, for some exciting finals.
Well, for me personally, it's always coffee o'clock, so I'm going to go find myself one.
Get yourself a coffee. You're going to come back for the final?
Oh, if you want me.
Well, absolutely. This has got your name on it, this seat, so Casey will be back to join us for the final. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be chock-a-block full of action, chock-a-block full of quality. We thank you for joining us this morning, wherever you're watching us, for the second International Canoe Federation Canoe Slalom World Cup of 2023. We'll be back with the women's final in just under half an hour or so. Make sure you join us then. Thanks for your company. We'll catch you later.